CERN Switch Off Part 2, Data Centers and Collective Possession. So let's get into it. Again, this is for entertainment purposes only. It's not factual information. It's just information I've picked up through readings and I very well could be wrong. So I do want to talk about the connection that I see happening with CERN and the data centers first. So I believe that it's all linked in like pieces of the puzzle. So from what I've seen and tapped into, these data centers are going to be built upon grid nodes. So again, just for anyone who doesn't know what a grid node is, a grid nodes are points within planet Earth where there are intersecting ley lines, right? And then within the center of that is the grid node. These are points within Earth where there is extreme spiritual and energetic power, where the spiritual and the physical realm is extremely thin. These are points where you can harness a lot of spiritual power in these points, right? And that can be used for good or it can be used for nefarious purposes. So of course we're talking about nefarious purposes when it comes to the forces that be. These are points where you can open up interdimensional portals really easily because the veil is so thin. So they are building these data centers on these grid nodes. Now there's physical aspects involved like this, like environmental damage and everything like that, 100%, but the spiritual and energetic side of the point of these data centers and how I feel that it links into CERN is again connected to Earth's grid lines. So what I feel that they're going to be doing with these is these data centers will essentially carry on from CERN's work and they will be creating false AI grids that go through and top of the Earth's ley lines. And then what will happen from there is collectively hooking people in to these false AI grids. The end goal, what they want to achieve with this, is transhumanism. However, like I said in my first video, right, the answer and what we can do towards that is grid work. Remember, this is frequency and energy. You can combat that. You know, we are alchemists. We can transmute that shit, okay? So we can combat it. So the more people that actively learn to do grid work, the better. I am working on putting a tutorial on my YouTube, you know, start to finish on basic grid work. The more that you do grid work, it's like any kind of energy work, the better you get, the more advanced you get at it, right? And intuitively, you know, you will be guided as well. But I will put a tutorial on my YouTube just guiding people towards it. I recently put up a video on how you can block out harmful frequencies from 5G towers and things like that. So we all collectively have the capacity to be blocking out these harmful frequencies. So the more of us that can step up and do that, you know, it's just, like I said, I just don't see it having the effect that they want. Okay, next I want to touch on the collective possession. So when I mentioned, obviously, the aim of CERN opening up all of these portals and allowing these darker interdimensional beings to come through is essentially it allows these darker entities to possess NPCs. This is why you're seeing more people within the collective. They're really angry. There's more psychic and spiritual attacks happening. You know, you go out in the street, people are very robotic. There's just no depth or awareness happening there. You're just seeing people causing absolute carnage and chaos and everything like that too. So I believe that's why these things are happening. You know, why are they doing it? What's the purpose in that? Well, you know, collectively again, we are all kind of connected to collective energy as well. So the more, it's like an infiltration of dark within the collective energy essentially. And again, this is to try and block the collective frequency from rising. I just don't feel that it's going to have the effect that they want whatsoever either. The more infiltration from dark, it's counteracted by the light, and there's even more infiltration from light coming in as well. Anything organic is always going to override anything inorganic. You know, light will always overpower dark. And despite what's been happening, the frequency is continuing to rise as well. Essentially, these people are being used as vessels to deter those that's frequency is rapidly rising as well. So what can you do about that? learning to take care of your energy first and foremost. So, daily shielding and protecting your energy. If you don't know how to do that, I have some videos on here. There's videos on my YouTube as well. Regularly cutting cords. Cutting cords is so easy to do as well. Learning how to do all of these things, that's cutting cords to the collective energy, cutting cords to others as well, because a lot of the time these people that are being used as vessel, they're hooking in, they're cording in to people's energy field through methods of psychic attack. So learning how to cut all these cords and freeing yourself from these things is something that is definitely essential. Again, there's videos on my YouTube for that. Then some simple things, spending time off grid, right? Turning your phones off, limiting the amount of time you're spending on your phone, scrolling, things like that. Digital exposure in general, switching your phone off, getting out in nature. If you're near the beach or something, go to the beach or go to the woods, whatever you have nearby to you. Spend as much time out in nature as you can, in solitude at times as well. I have a few days a week where I essentially kind of go off grid. I'll turn my phone off, I won't respond to people, and it is just incredibly beneficial for us to spend some time doing that. Really learning to have solid boundaries is another thing as well. Boundaries has always been a process for me to work through too, so I do get it, but learning how to maintain stronger boundaries as well. Limiting time that you're spending with people who are, you can feel, draining your energy. Spending more time with people who are filling your cups. And probably the most important thing is learning how to regulate your nervous system as well, because a dysregulated nervous system, it causes pockets of dense energy, like energetic eggs, to sit in the nervous system. That causes kind of ruptures through the auric field, and this is what kind of allows for things to enter into our auric field. So, you can do breath work, somatic release, these kind of things. Again, there's a meditation on my YouTube for that. And another thing, which might sound difficult, but enjoy your life as much as you can, right? Because these forces, they don't want you enjoying your life. They want you living in fear. They want you living, just thinking the worst all the time as well. But that's not the way to be. That's not the way to be. It's not productive at all. So really just doing things that you enjoy, things that make you happy as well, and trying to just enjoy life as much as you can whilst you're here. We are here to have a human experience as well. So sometimes people can get lost in the spiritual aspects too. I know I certainly have in the past, but right now I'm more grounded and rooted into this reality than I ever have been. That's like an embodiment phase as well. So yeah, just learning to enjoy this world as much as you possibly can, despite all of the chaos and everything that's happening round about you. The more you are having fun and enjoying life, the more regulated your nervous system is, and the less, you're not living in fear, and the less access these attacks and these kind of harmful frequencies will have to your field. Probably going to need to do another part, but as always, let me know your thoughts in the comments.